Hi everyone, I'm Cathy Cena with Tri-Cities Community TV. We'd like to thank the Coquitlam Library for donating their space to us, as well as the lands that we are sitting on right now. We'd like to thank the Coquitlam First Nations people for that. Today my guest is Leah Coss. She is a co-founder with Biz Kids. Welcome to the program today, Leah. Lovely to see you. We were talking earlier and you said that it's been since 2018.
Yeah.
So we're definitely due for a catch up.
We are. That's when we first started, was in 2018. So a lot has changed. Yeah.
Yes, a lot has changed. You guys have been doing a lot of work in the community with kids, and that's something that, you know, drew me to sort of saying, hey, let's have you back in. I know a lot's changed. So why don't you just remind us how you started and what was the inspiration behind you starting Biz Kids? What was that factor that was missing that you saw and thought, hey, we need to create this for kids, about kids, with kids?
You know, it's funny, when people see what we do, the number one thing that people say is, I wish they had this when I was a kid. And I'm like, that's exactly why we started this. Yes. So we basically teach kids all the things we wish we learned. Things like financial literacy, digital literacy in this age, entrepreneurship, business, public speaking, online course creation, creating websites, all of these technical future-ready skills. Now, on the surface, we all love that. Parents love that, teachers love that, the kids have a lot of fun with that. But what we're actually trying to do is build better humans with higher developed human essential soft skills, a cultivated growth mindset, more than really any generation before. If you look at any Forbes list, LinkedIn list of what employers are looking for, it's those human soft skills, resiliency, critical thinking, collaboration, leadership, decision-making, communication, empathy. There's like over 70 of them.
Right.
So that's really what we're doing. And our mission has grown since 2018 because it kind of stopped there. But what we've recognized and what's become very apparent is the mental health crisis in youth. They're the highest demographic of youth with mental health issues or challenges that they're facing. And if we include things like anxiety, depression, 1 in 3 youth are suffering with some sort of mental health challenge. And of those asking for help, it's like a 6-month to 2.5-year waiting list. What we've recognized, and we get asked this a lot, our programs are really targeting young kids, 6 to 14 years tops. And the reason being is grade 8 or 9 is like that indicator year. That's that threshold where we've got to start looking at prevention over intervention of mental health. And through what we've learned is through these development of these human soft skills, kids are learning self-awareness, resiliency, coping skills, being able to learn how to validate themselves from the inside so they're not seeking external validation. And that's really where this prevention of mental health has started to really take shape, and we're starting to see that impact in the kids because now they're growing up, and you know it's been like 5, 7. Oh my gosh, it's been a long time since we started our first kids.
Yeah, it's been a long time. What do you think the difference is between your program and maybe some other educational entrepreneurship programs that are out there?
Well, primarily most of the entrepreneurship programs, which are really incredible ones out there, they're really focused on those entering the job force in the next couple of years. So grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. And that's great. But once again, it's not just about those technical skills that we're looking for, right? We're looking to develop those human skills. And with our goal, we've got to really focus on the younger kids. So that's the first thing, is our age demographic. The second is the robustness. A lot of programs out there is just like a black and white printed binder, and they're like, here, go teach. And we're like, no, kids these days need engagement. So all of our kids that I was mentioning from like 2018, 2019, they've grown up, they're like 14, 15 years of age. They're the spokespeople in our videos, talking about what is marketing, what's a speech grabber, how to make a dynamic video. And so kids are learning from other kids. It's also taking the pressure off of facilitators who are sometimes volunteers in the community or teachers. They've never built a business before. They don't know how to describe what market research is to an 8-year-old. And so it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So it's really about the engagement, the quality, the robustness, and most of all, what's allowed us to grow so much by 15 times. We've 15x'd our reach just in the last like 12 months. We've done that because my background is actually franchising, which is all about systems for scale.
Right.
And so COVID was this like time where I was forced to just go, okay, you know, take your head out of the business for a minute. What you're doing is not scalable. How do we reach more kids? And so by systematizing it, we're taking on the same ideas as, say, McDonald's. How do they hire a 16-year-old, and by the end of their first shift, they're making a perfect Big Mac, and they know the difference between a Big Mac and a Quarter Pounder, and we're doing that with this systematized turnkey, super user-friendly method of facilitating these programs.
Now, I've known you to do the mall sort of, where the kids get to do a little mini trade show and things like that. We're going to get into grants and other things in a little bit, but tell me, from sort of start to finish, what does that look like for a young child to be able to, sell, sell putty or sell their cupcakes that they just baked at home, or have other kinds of entrepreneurial things, and that, the hard skills and the soft skills combined. Tell me a little bit about that.
So it's not just a program, because learning the theory of entrepreneurship does not flex a child's ability to communicate with strangers, to develop resiliency from someone saying no to them. You have to put it into a real world context. That's also where we start to listen. Like if I was like, Cathy, I need you to learn algebra, you would be like, why? Your brain would shut off. You'd be like, I don't need this. But if all of a sudden I was like, Cathy, you need this to save the world, you're going to learn algebra really, really fast. It's the same thing with the kids. They're like, oh my gosh, I get to make money. I'm going to actually talk to strangers. That isn't just my mom and her friends. Like, these are real people that are going to look at what I have. Like, the stakes become high. Those skills really become flexed. And so all of our programs end with some sort of final hurrah. Now, all of our communities are running these programs, having not just our entrepreneurship markets, those are definitely the ones people know us for, but we've got like our public speaking, which is our kid talks, TED Talks, right?
Yes.
And so we've got those events. That's a chance for them to do it within their community. But what we're having, and actually coming up, we're having our Biz Kids Christmas Market at Brentwood Mall. Nice. That's November 30th. It's a Saturday.
Okay.
So if you have kids who are entrepreneurs and they have a business, apply now to be a kid vendor. We're still collecting applications.
What can we expect there?
So what you're going to expect is a lot of kids who have all been working so hard on their businesses. We curate it. We make sure there's not like 50 slimes there, for example.
Right.
But think of a farmer's market, but all of the vendors are 16 or younger. And in fact, on average, they're between 10 and 11 years old. So it's super inspiring. It's great for the whole family. Seniors love it because they love supporting the kids. Families come out, small business owners come out. It's a fantastic event. And you're really there to be inspired, but also to watch the real development in real time with kids. There's just our last market, which was this summer in July. One of the girls there was selling headbands. And at the beginning of the day, she was really defeated because everybody was selling around her and she's like, nobody's coming. But it took that one sale, and all of a sudden, by the end of the day, she was hustling. She was coming up to me and everybody else being like, I've got the perfect headband. It matches exactly what you're wearing. Like, she had her pitch dialed in. And so you're seeing them change their decisions, understanding just because I committed to this price or this pitch or this kind of packaging, I can change my decisions and get new results.
Understanding to be flexible, understanding that it is putting yourself out there. What are you doing that's a little different than the person next to you? Like her talking about it matches exactly what you're wearing, and you're thinking, yes, it does. Yes. Well, that's fantastic. I love those. I love the whole entrepreneurship with the kids. What's the most unique product you've seen? I'm just curious, what are you seeing in these applications, or what was going on in July?
Well, we have one student. He was in our very first program in 2018, and he and now his two siblings come out to every event.
Right.
But he changes his product depending on if it's a Christmas event, in which he's got his Santa Claus hat on, he's got things that are amazing stocking stuffers, Christmas ornaments filled with bath bombs, things like that. But for the summer, he slays because he's doing snow cones. He's got his snow cone maker there.
I saw him.
Oh, he's amazing, right? Yeah.
And I just finished. I just came off of a big trade show in Vancouver, and positioning is very important. And I remember coming into the mall, and there he was, like packing these snow cones. It was really cool.
It was awesome.
Okay, so that is like a great ticket item. Yeah. Kids want that. Parents that are bringing their kids there, their kids are asking them, "Can I have this? Can I have this?" So he's growing his sales, and he's thinking, "Wow, this is really working for me." And it's about building self-esteem, confidence, like you said, the critical thinking. Now, HESS, we talked about that.
Yes.
The acronym stands for, you said it earlier, but I'm going to let you say it again so I don't botch it. But what is it? HESS?
Human Essential Soft Skills.
Okay.
So we've heard of soft skills, but sometimes we don't exactly know what that means and how is that different from hard skills.
Right.
Soft skills are so truly incredibly important, and there's no real consensus on how many they are. There's at least over 70. But again, if you look at like the LinkedIn or the Forbes list of what employers are looking for, they don't care about those technical skills anymore. It's not about, back in our day, it was, do you know Microsoft Word? Do you know how to do Excel? Like, it was super technical oriented, right? Now it's about leadership, collaboration, empathy, communication, mediation. Those are all soft skills. But the thing is soft skills sound soft. Right? And there's a whole story on why it's called soft skills. It actually, of course, goes back to the military, and they just considered them soft skills. But we wanted to put essential in there to really highlight how important they are, but we also wanted, in this day and age of AI and technology, to really say these are what make us human. They're the things that allow us to do things and feel fulfilled from them. You know, if you excel as racing track and you do really well, that's awesome. But it's not the winning the trophy that gives you long-term fulfillment. In fact, many Olympians, they win the gold and they go, now what? Right? You need the other human components that make you want to keep beating your own records, not just win the medal.
Right.
That wants to help share your gift with other people. Like, there's so much more, and you need those to be flexed, and you cannot learn those through theory. You must flex them to develop them.
What are some of the challenges that you've had growing the company since 2018? I haven't forgotten about the grants.
Yes.
We're going to get to that. But I just want to know, like, even your own self, just building this on your own, you know, with your own background in franchising, like you said, where have you found some challenges and sort of thought, oh gosh, you know, maybe this isn't for us and we need to throw in the towel and start in a new direction? You know, what are some of your challenges?
Well, there's an old adage that, you know, a plumber fixes everyone else's leaky toilet and sink, but then they go home to the leaky faucet.
I use the cleaning method.
Do you? Okay.
Cleaners are like, they never clean their own home, but everyone else is spotless.
Yeah, and so that's what happened. You know, when myself and the co-founder started this company, it was just, I want to say by accident. It was on purpose, but it was kind of that hobby, passion project on the side thing. And so then you just kind of get in it and you get blinders.
Right.
And even when you're an expert that coaches other organizations on what to do, you aren't doing it yourself. And so aside from, you know, the things that happened because of COVID in the world, for us, it actually created space for us to have to start assessing, is what we're doing working? And what happens when things do go back to in-person? What is that going to look like? Not just to go back to normal, but to evolve now based in this new mindset where people are willing to do things online or willing to look at things differently. And so we took all of 2022 to start reorganizing our programs, because what wasn't working, to your point, was we were running everything. We thought, we're going to do it all. We're going to have the facilities that we manage. We're going to be hiring the facilitators, doing all of the training. We're going to be doing marketing and getting the kids to come to us. We didn't realize that through that, not only was it not scalable, it's a nightmare to scale that, but it wasn't accessible. You know, we weren't able to reach kids in remote communities. We're now offering in like cities I'd never even heard of, I'm ashamed to say, in BC, but all across Canada. We're now as far as Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and Ontario, but we're also in like Greenwood and Lancewoodville, BC. We're in 100 Mile House, Qualicum Beach, Salt Spring Island. We're in these smaller communities that we could never reach before. We're now partnering, we call them our Volunteer Community Partner Network. That has been our secret sauce. Think of it like franchise partners, but community partners.
Right.
And they're people who really see the vision of what we're doing, and they want to bring this to their community and help us execute these programs. And so that's allowing us to, basically, we're able to run programs for a fraction of the cost of what it was. It's being done better because now we have facilitators that can work with kids with different learning abilities or on the spectrum, language barriers for, you know, newcomers, kids that are in remote rural communities, physical abilities, things that we just weren't prepared to be able to do when we tried to do it all ourselves.
Right, exactly. Now, let's talk about the Tri-Cities. Let's talk about what are some of the things that you're doing here, how many kids from the Tri-Cities are part of this program, and so on. So go ahead.
Sure, yeah. So I'll just start really briefly with the macro. So I mentioned we're all across Canada. We're in almost 50 communities across Canada. Compared to pre-COVID, in 2019, we were only in 8. So we've grown exponentially. Now, each community is reaching anywhere from 25 to hundreds of kids, and the Tri-Cities is a great example.
Yes.
In fact, Central Community School here in Port Coquitlam, Alexandra, she is the teacher that's kind of headed this up and said, we need to bring this to the kids. They reached over 120 kids, not with just one program last year, but our Kid Entrepreneur program in the fall, so the kids had their Christmas market. I'll say I went to go stop in at the market, got there like a half hour late, we'll say. They had already sold out. They were all sold out. It was incredible. And then they went in the spring and they ran the Kid Talks public speaking program. So these students all got hit. The entire grade 4-5s of the entire school were all able to cultivate so many soft skills, to the point where we built this beautiful testimonial video. You can see it on our website, and it got the notice of SD43. And they were then invited just last week to go speak. They had students, the principal, and teachers there to speak about their experience with the programs. And now I've got multiple meetings with multiple SD43 people.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we're really hoping we can bring this to even more. But here, even at Coquitlam Public Library, they have been given our grant, and their program coordinators and facilitators at both Coquitlam libraries are able to run our programs. And what's great about having community partners like that is the programs are always free. In fact, over 90% of all the programs with our community partners across Canada are free.
They're all free.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you talked about grants. Let's get into that a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. So this is how we've been able to grow. What we've decided to do as a charity is create something called the Canadian Future Ready Education Grant. And this provides community partners. They have to be either a registered nonprofit or charity, public school, public library, public community center, something that is a public offering where communities and families are able to easily get their children there, and they can apply for the grant. And as long as they're willing to help us with tracking their reach, how many kids from what kind of vulnerable communities and what kind of impact are you having, they have to fill that out each year, just like any other grant.
Right.
Then they get up to 10 licenses for all of their educators or all of their volunteers to run as many programs as they like every single year, and it's at no cost to them.
Wow. So your money then is coming in from donors and you know, your donations, your community builders and engagers and things like that. So what else should people be looking for? You know, there's two sides of this. If you want your child to be in our entrepreneurship program, send in the application. The other part is obviously, you know, in order to continue with those kinds of things and the program itself in all of the communities, as well as in the Tri-Cities, you obviously need some funding for that. So what does that look like in terms of a donor?
So I'll talk from the parent's point of view. What do? I've got a child and I want them to participate. What are the actions? And then the other, I'm a community leader and I want to be able to offer this to our community. So if you're a parent, there's a few ways you can engage. The first thing is if your child is already running a program, fill out our kid vendor application, join us at Brentwood Mall this Christmas and let their child continue building their business. But if they haven't started a business or they want to learn how to do other components, we're now converting all of our classroom programs into fully guided, meaning a voice is guiding them like a teacher in the program. Our kids in our videos are teaching them how to build and launch their business step by step. And those are our solopreneur programs. And they can go on our website and they can purchase that. It's only, I think, $49.
Right.
You get the entire program.
And they've got like modules and things that they're learning and on one-on-one stuff. Solopreneur, right, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So that's what parents can do. They can also go on our website and see if there's a community partner like Coquitlam Library where they can go to and just say, when are you running the next program, and see if they can register.
Amazing, okay.
Now, if they're a community partner, maybe they're a public school teacher, maybe they're a volunteer at a nonprofit or something like that, or a program facilitator, they can go on our website. Now, our grant is closed right now, but it's opening January. Now, previously, because of funding, we were able to also provide physical materials. Now, they technically don't need physical materials. They can download it and such, but we realized that a lot of nonprofits and public schools, they don't even get access to printers. They only get photocopiers. And so we create binders where all they have to do is pull out the workbooks and photocopy them, and it just makes it more accessible. This January, unfortunately, we don't have funding to do that, so it's just going to be digital licensing that will be included in that, but we are looking for funders that can help us continue giving the full meal deal to all of our grant applicants.
Is that all your boxes that you pack over and over, and you stick that
So
school
much
name?
shipping, yeah.
I think I saw something going to Fort McMurray or something. I'm like, wow.
know,
she's
all over
really
the
going into
place.
deep northern Alberta.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, like you said, a lot of cities and towns that you hadn't heard about. Tell us what your website is. Tell us where people can get in touch.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So a great way to stay up to date on when grants open or when our kid vendor applications open is to subscribe to our newsletter, which is right on our website. It's buildabizkids.com. And you can also find lots of stuff on social media, Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube for all of our videos and such, hearing from the kids and also the teachers.
Amazing. Now, do you have anything that is coming up next, something different, not the market or anything like that, but where do you see this going in the future?
Yeah, well, one thing that I'll mention is we're not done when it comes to programming. So this fall, we're launching our newest program called Kids Course Creator. This is where kids become course creators online.
Oh, amazing.
They become the teacher. So if they love skateboarding, create a course to teach someone how to skateboard. If they love knitting or crocheting, whatever it is. So it's super empowering program. I see more programs that we would love to find people that say, I want to fund a financial literacy program that will go across Canada, right? So we've got new programs that we're looking to create. We also are in talks with our board on creating something called a living library. These days, it's so overwhelming for kids to be like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And if I decide on being a host of a community television show, how is AI going to impact that in the future? How much money can I make with that? And so we're looking at getting really influential people from all across Canada that want to take that one seat in their role. Maybe it's in AI, maybe it's as a TV host, maybe it's as a professional public speaker, mortgage broker, a realtor, an entrepreneur, a capital venturist, like whatever it is, and for them, and raising money to be able to fund that video for them. This library would then be released to all of the parents and teachers across Canada, but also publicly online. We want this to be publicly available so kids can start gaining some context on what is possible out there.
I love the course creation bit because it's like master classes for adults.
It really is.
Right? Like you have
Yes.
your knowledge in X, you're going to write a course about it, people are going to buy it. You know, if we
Exactly.
write it, they will come, you know, and all of that. And so for kids, we're calling it the course creation program. And like you said, skateboarding, it could be ballet, it could be a number of things. Jewelry making, it doesn't matter. They write the course, they sell that program, and that's also another way for them to bring in some funds for themselves. It's so much better than an allowance.
It is. I tell parents these days, if your child is infatuated with paper airplanes, they can create an entire career on paper airplanes, from creating YouTube channels and Instagrams to creating kind of a Red Bull event every year that people want to come out to and see how planes are made and buy things. And like, you can truly create a career in any interest that you have. So let's give them some mediums to play around with it while the stakes are low and they're young.
That sounds great. Amazing, amazing. Today we heard from Leah Coss, co-founder of Biz Kids, and I'm looking forward to seeing our future entrepreneurs with this program. That was a lot to unpack today, Leah. Thank you so much for being on our show. My name's Cathy Cena with Tri-Cities Community TV. And now we just will